afternoon's racing. Riding with us this year, and a wealth of good Grasstrack experience there, of course. Interesting to see how the Arena Essex team captain gets on. Right, here we go then. Parade of riders underway. Let's try and pick out as many as we can and hope they dodge the roller as they come round. Not in number order, just to add to the confusion. Number 18, Steady Sam, it's Sam Ermalenko. Sam had a good meeting, enjoying his grass. Number 31 going by Martin Dugard. Number 15 going by Dean Barker. So the Speedway men out in action. Number 20, Randy Green, the Sheffield Speedway star. Number 11, Marvin Cox, Oxford and England. Number 19 is Yorkshire's Roland Tebbs, coming along towards us. Number 4, Peter Lloyd, who rides his Speedway with Oxford. Number 39, 30. Clayton Williams, number 17 going by Paul Fry, number 42 John Wilson, number 139 David Mears. That's sorted out, and here's the man who won the Masters. Number 5 it is Steve Schofield, in behind him, and number 29 Richard Jenner, number 36 Will James, the man who was second in Europe, then Neville Tatum, then Tim Fay, then number 21 going by Gordon Kennet, Eastbourne captain Duncan Tolhurst, number 9 Andy Colvin, number 26 Mike Beaumont on that Julian Wig machine. Alongside him it's England captain Kelvin Tatum, the Coventry speed team leader, who's really practicing hard this morning. I think he's going to have a good day. Chris Louis goes by. Chris Louis rides his Speedway with that very successful Hackney team. Number 28, out in the middle there, Andy Silver, who's on that very special Godden new frame. And coming around with the chairs, it's Ken Lane and Barry Metcalfe coming by, and all the family on the chair. Some more solos, Rob Fortune, who rides his Speedway with Exeter, and behind him number 32. Trying to change it to 21, they said, so Dave Manning and Peter Blank going by with a funny number on, but we'll worry about that one later on. Number 99, Peter Colvin and Paul Baseby coming by. Believe that, good heavens. Number 55 coming towards us, Jerry Adams and Shaun Pittock. And number 88, Mike Baxter and Danny Tully. And number 13, John Halsey and Dave French. And everybody enjoying the sunshine. Your chance to see them wearing their helmets on for a change. Number 24 coming by, Rob Wilson and Kevin Simmons. Again with all the family on. 99, Peter Colvin and Nick Nesbitt. That's toxic. I don't know, it looks a bit like a race, it isn't, but it looks a bit like one. Interesting has developed on the grass, and I know they're both very interested in doing more Grasstrack and gaining success there. They look to be all in line. They're away, it's a nice clean start, and we've crossed to the far side. Who's going to have the advantage now? Is Kelvin Tatum managed to? Martin Hagon, and then number 18, Sam Ermalenko. Well, Kelvin Tatum, we haven't seen a lot of him on the grass, but my word, he's flying, isn't he? place. And across on the far side. Sam Ermalenko, the places remain the same, and we'll look across to the far side now then. Just ahead of Pittock, then Sam Ermalenko, then Andy Riley, and then Peter Lloyd. The number, that must be 39, and some very, very fast speedwaymen in there. Will James in there as well. An interesting mix. There's some local favourite out, somebody in trouble straight away from the start line. It looks like Duncan Tolhurst who made the best on the start. And back in fifth place it's Rob Fortune as we look across the far side, and it's Chris Morton then on the Anzig June God motor. Another new name to the Grasstrack world, to the adult Grasstrack world anyway, but really going superbly. Dean Barker in third place at the moment as we look across the far side. In fourth place is Rob Fortune. Duncan Tolhurst dropping back a little bit now. And it was Will James coming up into contention. And it goes out to they're all in line now. They're away. And it was Paul Fry momentarily up the inside, but he's sitting back in fourth place at the moment as they come from. So Sheffield's Peter Carr momentarily took the lead, lost it again, but they're hard at it. It's Marvin Cox on the edge side, Peter Carr on the inside, and quite a battle going on. And Clayton Williams sitting back in sixth place. Meanwhile, it's all happening up at the front as Peter Carr gains a length or two over Marvin Cox. The advantage to Sheffield is the left. So looking across to the far side, it's Peter Carr now who seems to have established himself comfortably at the head of this road. Towards the inner side of the circuit, starter prepares, they're away. Now then, Roger Measor making a good start up here, and it's Roger Measor making a tremendous start and tucked in behind Ian Oram and Ian Rowan in second place, so Roger Measor Roger Measor and Dave Harris then. Still in second place, Ian Oram and Ian Rowan, and Steve Dewison looks for second place. Meanwhile, they're up to second place. The leader is Roger Measor and Dave Harris, and it's Roger Measor. And Dewison in trouble. Dewison spins it again. He did that in practice, and he's gone into the infield. So it's Roger Measor and Dave Harris now right. it's a point-scoring event, so they want to finish. Victory down to number 51, Roger Measor and Dave Harris. In second place, number 22, Ian Aram and Ian Rowan, the two Ians. And we're looking for Dewison, and here he comes. He gains one place. They're away. Who's going to get the best of the start? And it's number 24. It's Rob Wilson. And it's a three-way battle for second, third, and fourth place. It's side by side as they pass. Number 24. He's a bit in the Masters this year, and a very, very good crew indeed. So then, number 24, Rob Wilson it is, who leads as they come towards us. Tucked in behind that, number 88 is Mike Baxter, then number 99 through the Colvin. And certainly Mike Baxter looks very, very good. We're going to look back for Richard Piggott back to fourth place and having a little bit of a moment. So it's Rob Wilson who leads, Mike Baxter in second place, Peter Colvin in third. And position remaining. Baxter as they come round towards us once again. That's proving to be quite tricky for the chairs. But it's still Rob Wilson who leads, Mike Baxter in second place. Peter Colvin in third, Richard Piggott in fourth, and he's been challenged hard by John Halsey. John Halsey goes through. John Halsey goes through the fourth place. Richard Piggott looks for it again. Back as they go down the back straight. Clayton on his side, John Halsey on the outside. Richard Piggott goes back into fourth place. Meanwhile then, is Mike Baxter challenging for the lead. Is Mike Baxter challenging? He's not going to get there. It's Rob Wilson to win. Mike Baxter in second place, and Peter Colvin in third. Fourth place, Richard Piggott, and behind him, John Holt to the flag. Who's going to make the best of the start? Alan Blewett been gating well of late. They're away, it's another nice clean start. Alan Blewett in the middle, and indeed it unders Alan. And John Blewett is hanging on. I don't know what Alan realises that. They've got the flags out for him because young John is really hanging off the outfit. And they're... what a thing to do to your only son, isn't it? Oh, good Lord. He's... and then he dropped him. Oh dear, oh dear. well. Well, I don't know. He's trying to put him into the chair and then he dropped him. What a thing to do. We're ready to go? They're away. Dave Manning who makes the best on the start, and Alan and John Blewett are in second place, but they're battling with Steve Smith and John Mittenman leading from Dave Manning and Peter Blank as they come round towards us for the first time. So then, Steve Smith from Dave Manning, from on the outside, Alan Blewett from Nick Cameron, from Ken Lane, and wrestling. Well, all season. That's some good placing in the Nationals, but look at that tremendous battle for second, third and fourth place. It's Steve Smith then, leading this one. Dave Manning still in second place. Alan Blewett on the outside. Mick Cameron inching into third place, just ahead of Alan Blewett back to third. Pairing. Alan and John Blewett looking for a way past Mick Cameron into third place and not finding it. Steve Smith it is who leads. Dave Manning second place. Mick Cameron in third. Russell Lane coming through and Alan and John Blewett in trouble. Sure improvements there. Meanwhile then, it's Steve Smith and John Mitton who come towards us. Victory then for Steve Smith and John Mitton. Dave Manning and Peter Blank in second place. Mick Cameron to the starting gate itself. They're away, and it's Martin Hagon making the best of the start, and it's number one, Martin Hagon. That's good to see on Richard coming through there. Drops back to fourth at the moment. But look at the battle, and Hagon comes back, and it's Hagon in front. Steve Schofield in second place. So then, the Speedway men well in contention, and Schofield takes it back again. Side. It's Steve Schofield who seems to have asserted himself now. Pulled out a length. Victory there behind him, number 39, Chris Underhill. They're up to the line. The start is ready. They're away. So then, who's going to make the best of the start? Well, Simon Cross making a good one, but not quite. Side by side, and Peter Carr in third place, Tim Fay in fourth, and what a battle going on up there. And Simon Cross drops back to third place as Peter Carr goes just ahead of him, but it's Trevor Banks from Simon Cross. A little tighter than some of the others, gets into second, loses it again, so it's Simon Cross from Trevor Banks, from Peter Carr, from Tim Fay, from Paul Fries. Simon Cross leading from Trevor Banks, from Peter Carr, from Tim Fay, from Paul Fry, from Tom Wilson, from Roland Tebbs. Just ahead of Roland Tebbs, then a gaggle of three riders headed by number 27, Chris Louis. Looks like Mike Beaumont having trouble sorting out his position on the starting gate, comes into line. A little bit of overactionist on somebody's part there, they're being brought back. They're up to the tapes. They're away. So then, who's going to make the best of the start? It certainly looks as though that could be Chris Morton making a good one running it. From Kelvin, Tatum. So Oxford's Melvin Cox really flowing along here. But he's had to give way, he's dropped back to 2. Tremendous start. In fourth place, Ermalenko just ahead of Neville Tatum. So the flying Sam Guy Ermalenko from California really going and moves up. And he's back on the Tatum in trouble. But staying in third place ahead of Kelvin Tatum. A look of astonishment on Kelvin Tatum. Behind him, Neville Tatum, and then Mike Beaumont ahead of Andy Riley. They're away. It's a nice clean start again, and we're looking across, and it's Clayton Williams coming up the inside, but pick up the and the battle is on. It is Will James, and it's Will James and Clayton Williams and Randy Green tucked in behind. And the pressure really on his leading group of 4 riders, and in trouble down here, Ian Humphries. As they pass out, it was Mark Loram. And Clayton fights back. It's Loram who goes for the lead. It's Mark Loram who leads from Will James, from Clayton Williams, from Randy Green as we look across to the top. And on the far side of the circuit, lots of grip, a beautiful wheelie there as Mark Morton comes, beautiful sliding action as he comes Mark Morton, Ray Williams in second place, Will James in third, Randy Green in fourth, Vincent Kitchen in fifth, and in sixth place, Peter Lloyd. So here we go then with the sidecar race 12. On the Loram side, the middle, but it's Dave Manning who makes a tremendous start. Always a fast starter, Dave Manning in the flank, and the advantage. It could well be Rob Wilson who's come into contention, but we're looking for Steve Dewison, because Dewison has some ground to make up. He's back in 6th place. Meanwhile then, it is indeed Rob Wilson from Dave Manning, from Richard Piggott, from the Lorams, and Steve Dewison back in the pack. By outfit number 24 with Rob Wilson and Vince Jones in it. So here they come. Rob Wilson then in lead. Kevin Loram in a second place. Richard Piggott and Steve Dewison side by side, and Dewison moves through to third. Piggott has to give way to fourth, but I'm sure he's going to leave it like him. Kevin Loram in second place. Steve Dewison in third. And this time around, remember, it's the last lap flag. So it's still Rob Wilson hugging the curve. Still Kevin Loram in second place. Dewison third. Richard Piggott fourth. Ken Lane behind him, and then Dave Manning. Dewison goes for second place. Taking that time. He'll obviously have a go on this one right here. Dewison trying the long way round the outside. The leader, meanwhile, comes towards the checker flag. It's Rob Wilson who wins, and Kevin Loram in second. Steve Dewison in third. Richard Piggott in fourth. Then Ken Lane, and then Dave Manning. They're away. Now we have a false start. They're away. Roger Measor up through the middle, and that flying V4 Honda ahead of Steve Smith in second place, and it's good to see Steve Smith really thoroughly enjoying his race. Getting back to his Roger Measor from Steve Smith. They come round towards us once again. Roger Measor then with the advantage. Steve Smith in second place. Peter Colvin in third. In fourth place, John Halsey. So then, Roger Measor and Dave Harris. Determined, I'm sure, to make a good show here at the last big event of 1988. So it's Roger Measor who leads, Steve Smith in second place, Peter Colvin in third, in fourth place John Halsey, in fifth place number 22, Ian Arrow. Very determined. Steve Smith is working away and he's going after the Oxford crew. And Steve Smith and John Minton chasing Roger Measor and Dave Harris as they go into the last lap. And it's still number 99, Peter Colvin with the third place, but he's being pressed all the way by John Halsey. And John Halsey goes round the outside, but he was there. And he got there. And Peter Colvin is right back. He does. It's Halsey who gets there, but he's got 4 bends to go, and anything could happen here. Meanwhile, the leader, Roger Measor and Dave Harris, and they win. In second place, Steve Smith and John Minton. And John Halsey does make it, and Dave French in the chair. They make third place. We're away. This is race 14. It's rustling going up through the middle, but he's overtaken one number 88. It's Mike Baxter. Mike Baxter from rustling as they go round. And he's in the chair. They pulled right away from rustling and Chris Skipper in second place, and this is only one lap. So it's Mike Baxter from rustling in trouble, and it's Terry Phillips now. Terry Phillips now up into second place, rustling and Chris Skipper in trouble. They move into the infield. Going again, rustling, and like all these point scoring competitions, it helps to finish. Meanwhile then, Mike Baxter in the lead. Mike Cameron in third, in fourth place Jerry Adams, and then number 12 Tim Bennett. The motor stands fine now, I must say. Meanwhile, Mike Baxter then receives the last lap flag. Things ahead of Mike Cameron and Jerry Adams and Tim Bennett, and a little way back rustling. Not making any impact on the men ahead of him. But here comes the leader, Mike Baxter and Danny Tully it is. Mike Baxter, yesteryear win. Second place, number 15. Roland, Tebbs, Duncan, Tolhurst, Steve Schofield, Chris Lloyd, Tom Wilson and Andy Colvin. And it's a nice clean start, and it looks as though it's Steve Schofield who's working his way through to the front. Schofield to lead. A real battle going on with Chris Lloyd just second, third and fourth places, and Peter Lloyd coming up into contention. Peter Lloyd Andy Colvin coming up into contention, and Peter Lloyd up to third. So looking across to the far side, and Steve Schofield in absolutely dominating. But Andy Riley trying to come through now ahead of Chris Lloyd. And Chris Louis in. This will be an interesting one. Chris Morton unbeaten so far. They're away. Martin Hagon making the best of the starts. It looks as though Chris Morton is trying to go with it as Marvin Cox in there too. So then. And tucked in behind him, it's Kelvin Tatum watching the action up ahead of him. So there, looking at from Marvin Cox. And look at Trevor Banks, look at Trevor working his way up the inside, but he doesn't quite make it, and in fact has to drop back to fourth behind Martin Hagon. So there, Chris Morton looking Tatum. So at the head of things, it's number 37, Chris Morton. So then, Chris Morton is the win. Marvin Cox in second place, Trevor Banks in third, and Martin Hagon in fourth. In fifth place, Kelvin Tatum, just ahead of number 21 on the programme, Morton Kennet. They're away. Wow, Simon Cross looking to maintain his unbeaten record, but he hasn't got the best of the start. In fact, it looks like his cousin Clayton Williams who made the best of the start. Will James looking for fourth place. So then it's the two cousins up at the head of things. Simon Cross, who lives in Redditch these days, rides his Speedway with Cradley. Cousin Clayton, who lives in Newark. enjoying riding Julian Wigg's machine here. Really going superbly and really going after the guys ahead of him. Sitting in 5th place. Looking for a higher place is Mike Bowman. Meanwhile, on the cross. From Will James, and Mike Bowman comes through ahead of Neville Tatum. Can he hang on to it? He does. So then, up into 4th place goes Mike Bowman. But the leader, meanwhile, Simon Cross. Through the sunshine to Neville Tatum in 5th. Randy Green and Vincent Kinchin. They're away. And we're looking at Paul Fry making a good start, and it's Paul Fry who... No, it is indeed Peter Carr who's got up into contention. Paul Fry now back to 4th, now back to 5th, having a tremendous time on that bottom bench, just ahead of Randy Green, who's there in 6th place. Peter Carr leading from 31, Martin Dugard, and then coming through, number 18, Ermalenko, working away, coming up to 3rd, and Sam going after 2nd place, I'd say. So it's Sam Ermalenko 3rd, Martin Dugard in 2nd place. Then 4th place, and not losing touch with them is Mark Loram. And Mark Loram is really flying along in 4th place, and Sam goes for 2nd. Doesn't quite get there, but it's all happening over there. We can see the changes. And very, very close for the 3rd place. We'll wait for the official verdict on that one. Fine, starting team are ready. They're away. Lane in the middle there, but it's Roger Measor making the best of the start, and with him goes number 13, John Halsey. So it's Roger Measor, John Halsey looking to the inside. Roger Measor. So Roger Measor is then from number 13, John Halsey. Jamesi for Don Halsey from Ken Lane. Number 92 it is, Richard Piggott, and then number 3, Alan Jobler, and then number 77, that looks like a leader in big number. So then, across to our right, it's Roger Measor and Dave Harris. Leading from number 13, John Halsey and Dave French. And Ken Lane coming through, and the cone swirl again. Ken Lane is 3rd. Richard Piggott in 4th. And Richard Piggott will tell the actually meanwhile, Roger Measor and Dave Harris coming round the bend once again, heading for the last lap flag. It's Roger Measor and Dave Harris who lead. John Halsey and Dave French in 2nd place. Ken Lane and Barry Metcalfe in 3rd. Dave Harris looking to be heading for victory in race 19. They head for the checker flag. Victory then for number 51, Roger Measor and Dave Harris. John Halsey and Dave French in 2nd place, and it looked to me... They're away. And up through, and it's Steve Smith. Steve Smith and Mike Cameron and Peter Colvin in that order as they pass us. But Steve Smith going superbly. Looks like Mike Baxter's made the breakthrough. And Steve Smith really on song as we come to the end of this season. What a force he's going to be next year. John Mitten in the chair, the pair of them going superbly. And it's Mike Cameron now is up in 2nd. Mike Baxter in 3rd. And Mike Cameron rides well on this circuit, of course. We saw it early on in the European. So it's Steve Smith, Mike Cameron, from Mike Baxter. Mike Baxter right on the heels of Mick Cameron. So then, are we going to see it? Baxter comes round the outside. Can he make it? Meanwhile, it's Steve Smith who leads. Mike Cameron on the line in 2nd place. Mike Baxter in 3rd. In 4th place, it's Peter Colvin. Well, Mike Baxter is really working away, trying to close up 2 seconds. back straight to go. Big Cameron with half of that outfit's length advantage. Steve Smith leads, Mike Cameron in second, Mike Baxter in third. And really, Mike Baxter is practically climbing all over the outfit ahead of him to get there, but he's not quite making it. Still Big Cameron in second. Steve Smith leads, Mike Cameron in second. Mike Baxter in third. I think Baxter decided perhaps he's not going to make that second place. But who knows, there could be a last bend challenge. Meanwhile then, heading for the checker flag, it's Steve Smith and John Mitchell win. Mike Cameron and Paul Randall in second place, and outfit number 88, Mike Baxter within the chair, they're away. And it's Baxter goes up to the middle, but rustling there as well, and it's Mike Baxter with the advantage, rustling in second place, and it's Steve Dewison back in an unaccustomed fifth position. And then Rob Wilson. Outfit number 24, Vince Jones in the chair. They've had a tremendous afternoon. They're really flying. Rustling and Chris Skipper in second place. In third place, outfit number 52 is Terry Phillips. Steve Dewison Wilson and Vince Jones, the Tolhurst crew, having a tremendous afternoon here. Rustling and Chris Skipper going well in second place. Terry Phillips in third. Steve Dewison seeking third place. Will he get it? Terry Phillips is hanging on to him. Dewison seeking third. He's going to make it into third. Hopefully he doesn't, because Terry Phillips fires the motor just that little bit more and hangs off. Dewison has to come the long way round. And he's in danger of losing it then, but it's Dewison into third place. Rustling in second, and the leader, Rob Wilson. Saving the field, Tim Beckett. Dewison up into third place now. There's only one more bend to go. And Martin Dugard, who's riding Speedway these days for Oxford, they're away. It's a nice clean start, they're side by side, and it's Hagon who has the advantage from midway up the start. Martin Dugard. Keeping the pressure on. That's Martin Hagon to lead, so Martin Dugard in second place, and Dugard taking the tighter Speedway style line around the bottom bend, closing up a little, but he's a length or two to make up now. So it's Martin Hagon ahead of Martin Dugard. The cautionary dance from Martin Hagon there as he holds on to that length or two advantage over Martin Dugard. Dugard again closes up on the bend to our right by the start. And then down the back straight they go, and it's Martin Hagon who seems to stretch his advantage on the straight. And the last flag out this time, and it's Martin Hagon with the advantage at the moment. And Martin Dugard coming very, very close to those flags. Close to the boards, not flags. And at the moment then, it's Martin Hagon with the advantage over Martin Dugard. There we go, they're our way. This is the B final for 1988, and we look across to the far side, and it's Paul Fry trying to inch his way up the inside, but he goes into the far left back. Looks like number 9, Andy Colvin from Andy Riley from Will James. And Ermalenko back in the dust a little bit there. So on the far side, it's Andy Kelvin, number 9. Andy Riley in second place. Back with the Andy. Number 9, Andy Kelvin leading from number 34, Andy Riley. And looking across to the far side, the battle is still on. It's still Andy Kelvin, number 9, the 15 captain. Mike thoroughly enjoying his outing on Julian Wigg's bike here this afternoon. And Riley challenges, and Andy Riley closed right up on Andy Galvin then, as Andy Galvin had a little bit of a moment on that side. And Riley challenges, and Andy Riley comes down the inside. Andy Galvin in second place. Up in the third place there comes Will James. Or rather maintains his third place, and Mike Beaumont in fourth. So it's Andy Riley, the Cheshire Centre gamekeeper, the man who rides just on the grass, looking to put it across Andy Kelvin. way up into contention. So then, on the far side, it's Andy Riley with the advantage. Break, they are away. Who has the advantage? Very even, and it's number 13 with the advantage. So John Halsey then with the advantage, and we're looking to take the other. Meanwhile, then it's Richard Piggott who's hounding the leader, John Halsey. So John Halsey. And Halsey comes wide and Piggott comes inside him. So it's Richard Piggott from John Halsey from Kelvin and Mark Lapham from Steve Dewison and Dave Ward back in 4th place. Steve Dewison and Dave Ward looking up again and gets back in front, but they're side by side round that bend. Meanwhile, then coming towards us, Richard Piggott coming very wide, John Halsey up the inside. It's Richard Piggott from John Halsey from Steve Dewison. Having in 3rd place, Kevin and Mark Lapham in 4th place. And Steve Dewison now making his second place. John Halsey fights back momentarily, then has to give way, and it's Steve Dewison up into 2nd. Richard Piggott leads, Steve Dewison in 2nd place. So 6 laps to go, and it's Richard Piggott from Steve Dewison, from John Halsey, from Kevin and Mark Lapham, and all sorts of things going on here. We're going to take some consolation perhaps from winning the B final here this afternoon, but there's another 2 laps to go. And it's the Laphams back into 3rd, and John Halsey going all over the place at the sidecar with the revs. Meanwhile then, coming towards us is Steve Dewison and Dave Ward to receive the last lap flag. Steve Dewison and Dave Ward. Richard Piggott in 2nd place, Kevin Lapham in 3rd, in 4th place John Halsey, in 5th place Peter Colvin, and behind him number 22 here now. So then, Steve Dewison and Dave over the 2nd place team. Richard Piggott and Tony Angelico are quite a long way back. Victory then for number 1, Steve Dewison and Dave Ward. Richard Piggott, Tony Angelico and son, Kevin and Mark Lapham in 3rd, John Halsey and Dave French in 4th place. The official results of race 23 are as follows. The final, I'd say. Motor line, they're away, it's a clean start. It's Hagon up the inside and Clayton Williams making another good start, and it's Clayton Williams who leads as they go into the first bend. Tatum in 2nd, Trevor Banks in 3rd, then Martin Hagon. So then, Chris Morton really powering along here, going on. Chris Morton leads. Calvin Tatum in 2nd, Steve Schofield in 3rd, and Trevor Banks is in that gaggle of riders and Martin Hagon. And it's all happening down there, but and look at Trevor Banks. Trevor Banks shoots through his sort of advantage. It's Trevor Banks in 2nd place. Tatum in 4th, but Martin Hagon goes for 4th. Hagon 4th, Tatum 5th, Clayton Williams in 6th place, and it's all happened. Look at Clayton Williams close up on Hagon. A tremendous final going on out there. The back of the 4th place is quite amazing. Together with them. Trevor Banks in 2nd, Steve Schofield 3rd, Calvin Tatum's 4th, but Hagon goes after 4th, and Hagon gets up to 3rd place, loses it again, goes back to 5th place. Oh my word, it is Kelvin Tatum behind him, and it's all happening over the Chris Morton leads, Trevor Banks is in there. That looks like Mark Loram coming up into contention. And that certainly looks as though Banks is under pressure on the far side. Chris Morton then heads for the checkered flag. Trevor Banks going to get second. Then Martin Hagon, then Steve Schofield, then Simon Cross, then Peter Carr, then Clayton Williams, and then Kelvin. Wave your programs, give them a clap. What a way to end the solo racing of the Bonfire Burnup. A tremendous victory for Chris Morton got a tremendous race throughout. Well done, fellas. Well, that really was hectic out there. First place, number 37, Chris. So then, we go back for the restart of race 25. They're away. It's another clean start. Ken Lane making a good run. Roger Measor making a good one. It's Roger Measor from Ken Lane from Baxter as they go into the first bend. So it's Roger Measor then. They go down the back. Roger Measor. Looks as though, in fact, that's Steve Smith coming up into contention there. It's Roger Measor on the inside and a little bit of a moment going on. It's now number 88 up in the side. Baxter up in the second. Rob Wilson into third. And trouble on that bottom bend there for Steve Smith and John Mitt. But at the moment it's Roger Measor and Rob Wilson outfit number 24 of Vince Jones in the chair. And it's all happening as they go into that bottom bend. My word, yes, it's happening. So it's Roger Measor then, still powering away. It's Mike Baxter second place, in third place. It's Rob Wilson in second. There's Roger Measor from Rob Wilson from Mike Baxter. It's Rob Wilson in the fastest Sidecars time in second place, looking for a way around Roger Measor and Dave Harris. The former winners of the Masters, one in 85 and 86, are hanging grimly on in front, and number 24, Rob Wilson is hard after him. It's Measor on the inside, Wilson on the outside, and Wilson finds the inside, and the southeastern crowd cheers. Wilson on the inside, Measor on the outside, and Baxter. And in fact, for a moment it looks like Mike Baxter was going to come round and take the power off them, but it's Roger Measor back in front. Mike Baxter in second place, Rob Wilson in third, and they've got 2 more laps to go. There's Roger Measor and Rob Wilson looking for second place again. It's Rob Wilson and Mike Baxter side by side. And it's Rob Wilson through to second place and Baxter fights back. And Measor gets away. And it's Roger Measor from Rob Wilson from Mike Baxter in that order. And Measor needs to hang on to that tight line. It's Roger Measor still from Rob Wilson. And Wilson in trouble. And he's back on the, he's back in action, but he's back in 5th place. So Roger Measor and Dave Harris have got away a little bit now. In second place it's Mike Baxter now. And Steve Smith looking for second place as well. So it's Mike Baxter, Steve Smith, both of them chasing Roger Measor. And it's Roger Measor and Dave Harris who get there. Roger Measor gets there. Mike Baxter in second place. Steve Smith in third. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen some superb grass track racing here this afternoon. If you have to dash away, then please stay here from them this afternoon. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, I can now give you the official results of race number 25. In first place, outfit number 51, Roger Measor and Dave Harris. Third place, outfit number 2, Steve Smith and John Mitten. In fourth place, number 151, Mike Cameron and Paul Randall. In 5th place, outfit number 24, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. And in 6th place, outfit number 82, let's misread that again, that must be 52. Then we can have our presentation over here on the little stage behind the finish line. If you've got to dash off, please travel safely, watch that M25 if you're using it. And we look forward to seeing you here at Tunbridge or in fact at any of the British grass tracks.